to a celebrity family drama that's like,
Oh, boy.
yeah, it's playing out so publicly you can't miss it.
Yeah.
The Cyrus family.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Miley and her dad, Billy Ray Cyrus. And there's a lot of concern about his well-being these days.
It's interesting because, like, so many celebrity families, they have their ups and downs, but this seems to be going beyond, like, the he said, she said kind of thing. We're talking public cries for help, conflicting reports from sources, you know, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, we're going to try and figure out what we can. Using a couple things, an article from the Express Tribune, and I'll give you the full title in a sec. It's called Miley Cyrus Distances Herself from Dad Billy Ray Despite Health Concerns After Recent Performance. And then we're also looking at an Instagram post from Trey Cyrus. That's Miley's brother.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So are you ready to jump into this?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
All right. So this article from the Express Tribune, it kind of paints this picture that's messy. You know, it sounds like Miley and Billy Ray haven't been getting along for a while.
Right.
And in this performance he did recently at President Trump's post-inauguration, Liberty Ball kind of like brought all these concerns to the surface.
Liberty Ball.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I remember seeing, like, some clips of this online. People were saying he looked really disheveled and he was having trouble getting through the performance. Didn't he blame the equipment?
Yeah, he said it was faulty equipment.
Right, but people weren't buying it. It definitely raised some eyebrows.
No, they were not. And that's where Trace's Instagram post comes in. He didn't mention equipment at all. He was much more focused on like a direct plea to his dad.
Interesting.
Yeah, it wasn't just, you know, like a thinking of you dad kind of post.
Right.
He posted this picture of Billy Ray from that Liberty Ball performance, the one that had everyone worried.
Oh, wow.
And the caption,
Yeah.
it was heavy. He straight up said, "You're not healthy, Dad, and everyone is noticing it."
Wow. I mean, it's interesting that he used that photo, right? Like the one everyone's talking about. It's
Yeah.
like he's saying, look, I'm serious. This is what we're worried about.
Yeah, he's not trying to be subtle. And then he talks about being sober for over a year and a half.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he even says something like, "This message comes from a place of love and fear that the world may lose you far too soon."
It's powerful that he mentions his own sobriety. It's like he's saying, hey, I've been there. I know what this looks like.
Exactly. So now we have Miley supposedly distancing herself and Trace making this very public statement about his dad's well-being. And the article even mentions that Noah Cyrus, their younger sister, is also really worried.
So the whole family's concerned.
It seems like it makes you wonder what's going on behind the scenes, you know?
Yeah.
What are we not seeing?
Yeah, and there's this line in the article about how Billy Ray has faced criticism from his kids before, although it doesn't give specifics. It makes me wonder, is this a pattern? Is there something deeper going on in this family?
Yeah. It feels like we're just seeing the tip of the iceberg, right? There's this whole history of family dynamics, and we're only getting these little glimpses.
Exactly. And all of this is happening with the media watching their every move. Can you imagine trying to deal with family problems, personal struggles, and worries about your dad's health while the whole world is speculating about you?
I can't even imagine.
It adds this whole other layer of complexity to the situation.
It really does. Yeah, it makes you wonder, is all this just making things worse? You know? Is it helpful or hurtful to air all this out so publicly?
Right. Is it genuine concern, or is there an element of performance to it all? It's hard to say.
Especially when you look at how the article talks about these conflicting reports about how the family is reacting to Trace's post.
Oh, really?
Yeah, some sources are saying that Billy Ray's other kids, except for Brazen, they supported Trace's message. But then other sources are saying the family's angry that Billy Ray's sober and that everything's fine with him and Miley and Noah.
That's almost like damage control, isn't it?
Right, like they're really aware of how this looks and they're trying to manage the public's perception.
It's interesting how fame adds this whole other dimension to things. You know, if this was a regular family going through something similar, it wouldn't be plastered all over the news.
Totally.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder how much of what we see is real and how much is just for show.
Right. Are we witnessing a genuine cry for help? Or is this all just part of some bigger narrative they're trying to spin?
It's like we're trying to figure out this puzzle, but we don't have all the pieces.
And the pieces we do have might not even fit together.
Exactly. And this brings up something else that's kind of interesting.
What's that?
So if you look at the Express Tribune website, the entertainment section, I mean, it's full of celebrity gossip.
Oh, yeah.
It's just endless stories about the rich and famous. Most of it speculation or rumors.
It really makes you think about how much of what we read is actually true.
Right. It's like this constant stream of information, and it's hard to know what to believe.
So we've got this family drama playing out in the public eye, conflicting reports, and a media machine that just keeps churning out stories. It's a lot.
Yeah, it feels like the lines between genuine concern and entertainment have gotten totally blurred.
And it makes you think about Trace's post. Was it really the right thing to do? Could this kind of public pressure actually backfire and push Billy Ray further away? Or could it be what he needs to get help?
Right. We've seen those public interventions work sometimes. But there are also plenty of examples where it just makes things worse.
Exactly. And it taps into this whole thing about vulnerability and how much we share online these days. I mean, do you think Trace's post was genuine concern, or was there an element of tension seeking there?
It's tough to say. It's hard to know anyone's true motivations, but it definitely brings up some interesting questions about how we deal with family issues in the age of social media.
Right. There's no such thing as a private matter anymore, especially when you're a celebrity.
So maybe the big question here is, are we really concerned about Billy Ray's well-being? Or are we just fascinated by the drama of it all?
Yeah, that's a good question. And it's one that I think we need to ask ourselves more often. You know, are we too invested in the lives of celebrities?
It's a tough one. It's hard not to get caught up in it all. But maybe if we can start to understand why we're so drawn to these stories, we can have a more thoughtful discussion about boundaries and privacy and what it really means to care about someone.
I think that's a great point. We've covered a lot of ground here.
We have. What do you say? We try to sum up some of the key takeaways for our listeners.
Yeah, let's do that.
So we really got into it with this Cyrus family situation, you know, concerns about Billy Ray Trace's public plea, all the conflicting reports, the media going crazy.
Yeah.
What do you think are some of the big takeaways?
Well, it definitely shows that celebrities, they might have all the fame and fortune, but they still deal with the same stuff we all do.
Right.
Addiction, family problems, trouble communicating, it happens to everyone.
It's a good reminder that what you see on social media isn't always the whole story.
Absolutely. And speaking of social media, it's like there's no line between public and private anymore.
That's so true. Trace's post is like the perfect example.
Totally. Imagine if this had happened years ago. Probably would have stayed within the family.
Right. But now it's instantly all over the world.
Yeah, makes you think.
It does. Is this kind of exposure good or bad? I mean, it can force people to confront their problems,
Right.
but it can also be so intrusive and maybe make things worse.
I think it can go either way. And
Yeah.
honestly, as a society, I think we need to be more aware of that.
Yeah.
You know, it's so easy to judge, especially when it comes to celebrities.
You love to comment on their lives.
We do.
Yeah.
But are we really helping, or are we just making things harder for them?
It's a good question. And it makes me think about how much we really know about this whole situation.
Yeah.
We're getting bits and pieces of information from different places, and a lot of those sources, they have their own reasons for saying what they say.
Right, like maybe they're trying to protect someone, or maybe they're trying to stir up drama.
Exactly. It's like we're trying to solve a mystery, but half the clues are missing. So maybe sometimes it's best to just admit we don't know everything and stop trying to fill in the blanks ourselves.
I agree. So this deep dive into the Cyrus family, it's really been about so much more than just them. You know, it makes you think about family and media, how much we can ever really know about what's going on with other people.
It really does. And I think that's what's so great about these deep dives.
Yeah.
It's not about having all the answers.
No.
It's about getting people to think and talk and question what they see and hear.
It's about going beyond the surface and really digging into the complexities of things.
Exactly. Well said. So we've covered a lot of ground today, and I think it's time to wrap things up. We will leave you with a final thought. What does the future hold for the Cyrus family? And what can we learn from their story about public scrutiny and personal struggles and the importance of respecting boundaries in a world that's so connected? So until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep the conversation going.